All
And
right.
we are live. Take it away, Callan.
All right. I'm just going to share my screen. So now when we talked last time, I promised you guys that I would teach you how to add friends in an automated manner.
And we have Bill here. Like we just
And and,
mentioned Bill
and
last
Bill
time.
is here.
He's here
It's
now.
just like it's like the CRM demo actually sent out the message that I
Yeah,
said we're going to show it to him today.
yeah,
And
yeah. And they
here
were
we
like,
are.
okay, yeah, since Bill's there, we'll do it legit, but just the two of you, like, no way.
All right. So here we are back in Facebook, and I've clicked on my icon to bring up my toolkit. This time, instead of going into the other tools, we've gone into the Friend Seeker tool, right? The
And
Friend
this
Seeker
this
tool.
like you were saying before, I mean, like the main point of this strategy is to get your target market and then also not have a bunch of people be like, oh, how dare you use Facebook for money purposes. Like this is like the best way that even if your customer is like, how dare you contact me even though I'm interested, this is like the best way to do it, hands down. I really love that education from the last time. It was
Yep.
really good.
So just to reiterate on that point, this is the secret, right?
Yeah.
If you use this incorrectly, you're going to be that spammy guy that people are just, you're going to get shut down immediately. You might get blocked, possibly reported. Um, Either way, you're certainly not going to accomplish your goal, at least at the rate that you would like to, right? You might get, that 1 in 100 that's like, absolutely, yes, I've been looking for this and just waiting for somebody to private message me, and yet nobody has until now. But that's pretty rare. So let's up the chances of that happening. And really, you need to do that by building trust. And the only way you can build trust is through building a relationship. So like we said last time, CRM is customer resource management, but if you're using it properly, it's customer relationship management.
That's really good.
So we should be using these types of tools to manage relationships and to remove the repetitive tasks out of what you're attempting to accomplish. Um,
Yeah,
you know,
and just separating that from resource to relationship. Like it sounds really good because it also sounds really good. Like people don't want to feel like a resource, a thing that's being taken or used or twisted or whatever. A relationship sounds way better than resource. You're gonna take things from me and then not give anything back. No, thank you.
yep, exactly. So what I've done is from last time I was on an old version, so I've updated my desktop to the most recent version, literally right before hopping on camera, um, just so we were ready to give you the newest stuff here. So
Yeah, and
in
I
Seeker,
was prepared for it to take a super long time and be like, hey, good thing we did this beforehand, but it was crazy fast.
and I specifically waited just so you guys could see how fast it was. Um, the very first thing that we need to do is we notice there's a select group box, but it's empty. So we're just going to click on start scanning um, because we need to be able to um, have it look at all of the groups that we're a part of to look for people that are interacting. And actually, I need to set up one small component, and I believe that it's in not in engagement tracker. It is in the friend remover settings. Um, so if you remember the um, last time we did the section where we went through and we canceled all of our pending friend requests.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Um,
So we didn't look like a robot.
yeah, we did that in order to avoid looking like a robot. Um, and then once we have all of the stuff set up, we can go through and notice that now it's populated like through my engagement tracker. And um, so now the friend seeker is um, not asking for it. So now we can just say that we're going to sync groups. And this is pretty quick. And as you can see,
Yeah. No, I'm seeing like even though you had to do a couple of extra steps, I can see how the software walks you through those pieces.
yeah. And you really only need to do that once after updating. If we're using this every day pretty consistently, you do it and then you don't have to touch it again until it updates. And then you drop your Facebook profile in there again and
Right.
then you resync. So,
Well, I mean, like we're also going to have all of the training videos that we're doing now, and also in the future, in the Gig Economics Facebook group. So if there's any questions that you guys have, not only can you like just watch the videos, you can be like in the group and be like, "Hey, Callan, like, can you answer this question?" And there you go. So like,
oh,
it's
for
not just
sure.
it's not just like, "Hey, here's a CRM that you might want to use, and you can kind of use it maybe." No, like if you have questions about this, we're the guys to talk to. So you're in the right group. Congratulations.
Absolutely. Questions, fire them away, leave them down here. And we're always in here. So one of us
Even
will
if
get
it's
back to
something
you.
like a new feature, like, hey, can you do some training on this part? We will absolutely do it. We have plans on like how we want to do this. But if someone says, hey, I'd like to know this, we're more than happy to, move some content scheduling around because the ultimate goal is to help you guys, not just make a bunch of training for no reason.
So once we have groups in sync, then we have a couple of other options here, right? We have the keyword option, and then we have our location option. We can specifically say, do you want to scan for the location? Yes or no. For me, for my purposes, it doesn't really matter where somebody is, because pretty much as long as they speak English and we can communicate, and they're targeting a space where people speak English, because I only speak English, I can run ads for them anywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't need to be concerned with, them living in my geographic location or a certain space. Although there may be a time where I'm looking for clients, and maybe I'm looking for a client in a specific state. So I might choose a location. For this purposes, I won't. Let's say um, we're going to put in a keyword of Facebook ads. Total number of people to scan uh,
A
for the purposes of
billion,
the demo. We want this to be quick, so I'm just going to do 5. But I mean, really, that could be a ton.
5 billion.
Yeah, and then you can come up here and you can say add keyword, and boom, Facebook ads has now been added,
Nice.
and I can add multiple keywords and just pound them in here. And this is the settings section, right? So you've got Friend Seeker Home, Friend Seeker Settings. Now, in order to use it, we're going to go to Home, and then we're going to find a group. Um, I have a feeling that the Facebook ad hacks group is probably going to have some people with the Facebook ads keyword.
Maybe.
Oh,
I don't know. It's kind of a limb.
so we're going to go through and we're going to ask it to start scanning. And what it's going to do is it's going to look through the things in common section of that group. And it's going to look for people that have things in common with you. It's going to go through and it's going to load.
See, and as this thing is loading, something you also need to keep in mind though is something that Callan was talking about before. Like you need to have a strategy in mind before moving into this, which is why he gave you a strategy in the beginning of like, hey, this is how you can conceptualize this as I teach this to you.
Yep.
But if you have a different strategy, this same concept can be applied the same exact way. You just have to think about the strategy before you head into it so you don't get your account banned and then you don't have people being like, how dare you use social media to make money? Like, or at least that, like when I first started doing it in 2011, that was the pushback that I got. I was just like, how dare you money on my social space? And I'm like, what? But this, I mean, like, but that's a legitimate concern that as a marketer, you have to figure out. So that's all you do is answer the question before they're ready to answer it. And you've already done it because you're like, hey, I'm just like these other guys that you really like. And I've even proved it because I proved it in your group. And then you came to my profile and then you saw that you learned stuff that you've never learned before. I mean, that connection is incredibly visceral as it's happening in real time.
So as you can see, this thing is loading. Um, Typically, when you start scrolling manually while you're doing this, you'd get a load more button on the bottom. And this is automatically clicking that load more button so it can continuously scan through
Oh,
this massive
wow.
list of everybody that's in this huge group. So we don't have to sit here and watch this. This is just going to happen on its own, right? There's Jonathan Grzybowski. I'm sorry if you happen to be watching. Hi, and I apologize for butchering your name. you'll have to message me and tell me how to pronounce that so I get it right next time.
Oh, please do.
But
I would
so
love to see that.
now if we come back, okay, so now it's on Kenny Mew or Kennedy Mew. So you can see it's working even though we're not in the tab, right? Even though we're not in the tab for the tool is kind of doing its thing and just continuing on. So that'll need to finish in order to continue moving forward with what we're doing. But that scan isn't something that you're going to do super frequently unless you're switching around targets
Yeah,
pretty frequently, which I don't recommend.
This is part of what I wanted you to see, like as this was happening, so you can see because one of the things that I had brought up in the previous recording, I was just, man, I wish Bill was here because then he could see it. But then I was just like, no, Bill doesn't need to be here for reasons we've already talked about. But to that to that end, I was like, no, I think Bill would like seeing this because then as we talk about it with the audience, they can also see, hey, yeah, this is pretty easy. It's just like, hey, I don't really feel like I'm working. I'm just farting around on Facebook. And the tool, the CRM, is just a little reminder like, hey, you're on Facebook to make money, so maybe you should do the money thing. So it's still like, that's again, that's what I'm really trying to say is that the tool feels like you're still on Facebook because you are, right? So you don't even really feel like you're working. You're just hanging out, posting things on Facebook, and it's just like, what did you do today? Oh man, I did so much work. I spent 5 hours on Facebook. And to anybody else, they were just gonna be like, that's not work. You just said you were on Facebook for 5 hours. Aha, but you're clever. You know how to multitask. You can social and market at the same time when most humans can only social. They cannot market and social at the same time. That's the only reason why they're bitter.
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to end up down a rabbit hole when you're on Facebook and you click on a video that somebody posts and then you end up in YouTube. And then 4 hours later, you're like, where did time go? And why am I watching videos about cats parachuting?
I do not need to know about this useless documentary, but here I am.
I never knew I wanted to learn how string was made, and now I do. And wow, why did I wait so long?
To the looms.
But as you can see, I have my profile set up a little bit differently than a lot of average users for Facebook. Mine is set up for lead generation. So I have a cover profile. We talked about this this on the last time we got together, but this cover profile is part of my strategy. So as we get together, this specific thing, obviously this keyword isn't the right keyword to be searching for the cover profile, but if I were searching for, learning marketing, starting a business, something like that would be maybe more appropriate keywords for this. In the scan group that was geared toward beginning marketers, I would return results that would be a good match for this cover profile.
Yeah.
But, I could just as easily change this into 5-day Facebook ad training masterclass. And,
Yeah. And see, I'm gonna absolutely throw Callan under the bus here, and then try and rescue him, and then just be like, "Ooh, that was rough." Callan's really good at design, like super good at design. I challenge you to challenge him. Say, I dare you to make me a Facebook page. I wouldn't do that to Callan. I wouldn't. But you could do it to me because I'm also really good at this. I just don't brag like Callan does. So I'm really good at these. If you're sitting here going, well, wait, I have to make a Facebook page look cool like Callan's, it's really not. It's not that hard. Sorry for just like praising you and then making you look like an idiot, Callan. No, it's
all right. My wife does it all the time.
It does take some finesse to get to the level where Callan is, but the major pieces, like just like you said, major keyword, the picture needs to look like something that somebody who's interested in what you're doing, who doesn't know much, go, hey, this guy seems like he knows what he's doing. So if you have any questions in this video or any time later on when you're just like, hey, could you guys give us some advice about how to create the page? At any time you say that you want that, I will stop Callan from whatever he's doing and force him to do training. I'm just kidding. I will do the training. I will do the training, hands down, no problem. And then I'll make Callan do it. But
Hey,
either way, there will be training that will be done if you just ask. All you got to do is ask. There you go.
one more thing. I may have some opportunities of if either of you are interested in creating banners for different kinds of social media sites, like,
Ooh,
for example, LinkedIn.
Oh, for sure.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
it,
We want to
oh,
know that so that we can also tease everybody else, thinking that they may not get it and it's just for us. So yes, Bill, we want it.
I might have a really big opportunity for you guys. So
Hell yeah.
I'm just going to throw this out there. The way that I have set up my Facebook profile
Look at this.
also applies to LinkedIn.
Dude
You
knows what
almost
he's doing.
and you almost never see this on LinkedIn.
I know, right?
And here's a bonus. If you sat through yesterday's yesterday's demonstration of the CRM system, and you're sitting through today's, even if you sit through all of it, and then you watch it 10 more times and you got nothing else out of these videos, this would be worth it. Do this on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Because
I have nothing
nobody
more to
else
add.
is
Yes.
doing it. Nobody else is doing this. This is not something you see very often anywhere. I can scroll through probably most of my network and not see other people that have much. This guy's got just a quick little banner, but he's not targeting anything. It draws lots of attention when you do things that are different than what you would see on the standard network. So
no,
Yeah.
this is awesome, and I love that banner right there on
Yeah.
Facebook. That's
And the thumbnail that moves and stuff, dude, it just shows that you're always keeping an eye on anything that could be like a marketing thing.
right. Well, it's about setting hooks,
Right?
right? You've got to be out there constantly fishing. And if I can set my pole in the water, put it in the pole holder and toss a little bell on the end and just know every time a fish starts playing with my line, why would I not? Because if I'm doing this manually, I can only put one hook in the water.
Yep.
Right? You can only hold one pole. You can only reel one pole. You can only snag one fish. But unless you're lucky and another one happens to bite on from the back, and we don't want our customers eating each other because it's a horrible thing.
Yeah.
We do not support cannibalism. But,
No, it's not a good idea. Don't do it.
But with the automation, I can throw as many hooks in the water as I want to. Right? I can let the CRM system just throw hook after hook after hook in the water, and then watch it manage them, where all I have to do is respond to the bell. Right? That incoming message that comes in as the conversation start. I respond to that. Just like fishing, sometimes you got to finesse the line a little bit. You got to wiggle the pole, give it a little bit of reel, get the fish interested. And then once the fish says, "Hey, tell me about that thing,"
There you go.
sometimes they get away. Sometimes you get the fish up there and the fish is really anxious to be cooked for dinner. And you're like, I don't want to eat that kind of fish. So you throw the fish back.
Yeah.
Analogies are coming for these last two sessions. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Do you guys want to hear
an airplane last time?
Joke?
Well, yeah.
All right. Do you guys know how to catch a polar bear?
No.
yes,
Okay.
I do, but I'm not going to ruin your joke.
Thank you, because I have carried this for a very long time. So
It's a hilarious joke, and it works
yeah.
at all age levels.
Prepare yourself, Callan, and everybody else watching. So the way you catch a polar bear, right, is when the lake freezes over, you cut a hole in the ice, and very gently you put frozen peas all around the outside of the edge, because the polar bear is going to come up to the edge of that hole, and it's going to take a pee, and then you got to rush up and kick it in the ice hole. That's how you catch a polar bear.
Yep, that's exactly the joke.
Boom.
Nicely
Dad
done.
joke. Y'all just got dad joked. Let it happen. Or uncle joke. I'm everybody in my family refers to me as Funkelzane, not uncle. I am Funkel
That's
because
awesome.
I have all the dad jokes.
So apparently, and I apologize, maybe I should have picked a group that I had less in common with people, because it's still going, and most of these people I have.
But we can take a moment and just be like, this is like, no, seriously, this is what Callan does. This is his work. He walks the walk, he talks the talk, he eats his own dog food. Okay, I don't think he eats dog food, but I think he'd be willing to if he needed to prove a point. This
Got
is like,
hungry enough.
yeah, like in the last recording, it's like, yeah, this is what I do all the time. I'm not one of those people who say you should do these things, but I don't. So like what you're seeing is this is him doing it. So it's
Well,
also you're gonna see him like that. It's a lot of work because he works a lot because he knows how to hustle.
so to just to put that into perspective, with the cancel friend request tool that we talked about last time, doing this, you're going to get a lot of people that are just going to be like, I don't know you. You have a lot of things in common with me, but I haven't seen you or seen any of your stuff, or um, I don't know who you are, and just we haven't had any personal interaction, so I'm not going to accept your request. And you're going to build a stockpile of friend requests that go pending. It's just going to happen.
Mhm.
So you very regularly need to be using cancel friend request tool. So when I did that demo yesterday, we were at the very tail end of me running a round of canceling friend requests, and I canceled over 2,000.
But that's a good thing though, right?
It's a very good thing, because you want to be constantly, you don't want them sitting out there, because if they're just sitting out there, Facebook goes, wow, you send a whole lot of friend requests and nobody likes you. So the next time you send a friend request to somebody, we're just going to be like, no, we're good. And they're going to give you a little notice. It's going to say something like, we've detected suspicious activity.
Yeah.
And then they will restrict you from sending further friend requests. And depending on how often you've done it and how many you've sent out will determine how long it's going to take.
Because here's the deal. The only people who can really get mad at you for doing something outside of what is viewed on Facebook, the only people is Facebook themselves, not the people, not people using Facebook going, oh, you shouldn't sell stuff on Facebook. No, their opinions don't matter. Sorry, but Facebook's does. It's their playground. You're playing on it. So if they go, we're gonna ban your account, you can't be like, oh, free country. No, you are on the country of Facebook. So you follow all of their rules. And when they say, it looks like you're friending a bit much, and if you keep going, we're going to ban your account. No one is going to care. The police will not answer the phone. They will not. You will not get a case number, and no one's going to care that Facebook kicked you off their platform because it's their playground. So
and you don't get a warning.
exactly, exactly. So when people on Facebook are complaining about you marketing, but you haven't been banned, you're fine. You're fine. Just ignore them. The only people you need to pay attention to is facebook.com. There you go.
And I forget who said it. Was it Frank Kern? Maybe he says that if you haven't pissed somebody off by noon, you're not marketing hard enough.
Yep. That's Frank Kern.
Which is absolutely true, because there's so many people out there that well, let's just put it nicely and say they don't have enough in their lives to complain about.
Here's one more. Enjoy.
So I just heard it said today, actually. I was listening to a podcast, and somebody addressed the propensity on social media to complain about the smallest, dumbest things, right? They complain because they have to get up for work earlier in the morning, or they
Right.
complain because they don't like the way you've said something, or whatever the case is. He said, plain and simple, they need bigger problems. They're not doing in their life. They're not doing anything enough in their life to have big enough problems.
Yeah.
That's not a concern for them.
Yeah. It's
which I absolutely love that position. So at this point, I think I'm pretty much in the attitude of, if I find myself complaining about piddly things, I'm going to go find myself some bigger problems.
Yeah. And it's just like, oh, I'm sorry, you were bored. You want a higher difficulty? Like, okay. That's, to me, it seems superfluous. Uh, well, for a lot of reasons that won't focus on what we're talking about. So, Zane, don't take people out into the forest of weeds and trees that don't matter. Let's stay
All right.
focused on, on the
So,
CRM.
so for the sake of continuing on
Yeah,
with the demo, unfortunately, this is going to go until it decides to finish.
I failed at Segway. My bad.
So um, once you've scanned, you're going to see a list down here, right? The scan's going to complete, and it's going to have the number, the name. It's going to have a link to their profile and any details in terms of like the keywords and that sort of stuff. And then we can ask to have those things added to the queue once they're here. And then when we add them to the queue, it's going to start going through your queue one by one and sending out those friend requests to these people that you have things in common with. The reason we're scanning things in common, again, is because we mimic organic activity. In the most organic activity you're going to get is reaching out to people that are in similar groups, interested in similar things, with several friends that you happen to know. It's like when you were in high school and you hung out with one person and then they hung out with like 3 other people. So then you became friends with the other 3 people because you hung out with the one person. You eventually meet, and then, you just all become one group.
Yep.
We're mimicking that same type of an activity here with the friend seeker. So
And sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
into propensity for a little while. But it's literally as simple as you just click buttons and it will go through and it'll space out your friend ads. Because again, bots go through and go down a list and they go add, right? It's all about doing it as fast as possible, as repetitiously as possible. People go, hey, I want to add that person. And, oh, who's this guy? And they click the profile and they check out all their stuff. And then 5 minutes later, they're like, okay, I'm going to add them.
Yeah, so basically the programmer just gave the program some ADD. That's all.
Yeah, a little bit.
Or go get distracted for a few seconds and then come back to your job. Why
and
would I do that? It doesn't matter.
If you watch it work, it doesn't do it. It doesn't do it on a set interval either.
Yeah.
It has a pretty wide swing in how quickly and slowly it'll do it, and it's very intermittent. They did a pretty good job with the randomization because I didn't notice any specific set timing or pattern to it. So if it's not immediately human noticeable, it's usually pretty much good enough for a program.
So if the software ever fails, just find the most distracted kid ever and just be like, friend these people for me. And then also keep yourself occupied any way you possibly can, but also friend these people. And then, yeah, you will get the most intermittent friend requests ever.
So this is really the technique that ties all of the automated organic marketing together, right? Everything hinges on that. We set up the profile. We make a post about stuff like, okay, so, I've made this post. Money's in the follow-up. Why are we passing up opportunities? Well, what are we talking about right now? Oh, we're talking about software that helps you follow up with people. So I'm creating bite-sized pieces of engagement that people may be interested in. If I went into, I could go into a group that was about follow-up and look for all of the people that are complaining about how difficult it is to manage who they should be following up with. And I'd say, hey, look at this CRM. This is pretty cool, right? This does everything you're complaining about, right?
Dude, now I want to know how Mormo would use a CRM. Like, how does the punk rock dude, how does this guy use a CRM to start a punk rock show? But I mean, it's totally possible. I just want to hear it from Mormo. Like, how would you do it? And have him be like, oh, dude, I do it like this, and just watch him go.
So I know that he's going to be watching this as soon as it, like, almost
Right?
as soon as it hits the page,
Boom.
because he's just awesome like that.
Yeah.
So after seeing the stuff this is done, leave us a comment and tell us what you do.
Yeah. There you go. Nice.
Give it,
Well said, Callum.
give us a quick little video comment and tell us what after seeing this, what does that set off in your head? What ideas does that go and just send them cogs into overdrive?
Yeah.
And what would you want to do with it?
And think of our last conversation when I mentioned pirate radio, right? See where that goes.
All right. So putting all those pieces together, we've set up the cover profile in our social media. We've started to produce content around the problems that we're solving and the problems that we're going to be solving for people. We're looking for people that actively have that specific kind of a problem that we're attempting to solve. We're setting up auto greeter. So as soon as we become friends with those people, we're going to start organic engagement with them. So we've come full circle with what happens, right? So the whole system, once you have it set up and you do a few clicks, goes on to autopilot. And you start having those discussions with people.
Yeah.
And in the midst of having those discussions with people, you need to be able to track the discussions that you're having. So then when my software system finds Zane and starts reaching out to Zane, and Zane's like, wow, CRM sounds pretty cool. And we're having conversation and a message, then we're on his profile, and we're going to add his profile into the lead gen using the shiny green lead gen button. Oh, Zane Miller. You know what? He was really excited about that. And I'm going to follow up with him in a week.
But only 4-star excited, not 5. You got to put a little bit more energy in the tank in that next one.
We need I think we need some more stars here.
There we go. Yeah.
But, I want to follow up with him next Saturday because, I don't want to be a jerk that just like pings him every day. Be like, hey.
It's like, come on, I'm a 4-star contact, man. Give me a couple days to breathe.
Follow up with Zane. This is just a nose for me to know what happens. And, Zane's 3 hours behind me. So 8 a.m. my time is probably a little bit early for Zane.
It's all right. I'm still awake by that time.
So we could just say, 2 p.m. We're going to follow up with him.
Appreciate it.
And then what do I want to do?
Sober up.
And this worked really well last time. So you guys remember the demo that we did yesterday where I put Zane in and I scheduled a follow up?
Yeah, no, it's a little
funny
bit more...
story. I forgot to remove the demo task that we put in there. And while I was grocery shopping, the CRM system messaged Zane and asked him if he was ready to see the rest of the features.
I totally forgot about that.
And I didn't even know the message went out because that's how it works because it's on autopilot.
And I responded.
And he just thought it was me. And he responded. He's like, yeah, totally. Let's go ahead and do this. I'm like, oh, sorry, man. I forgot to remove that thing. That was the CRM system messaging you. So, I'm not saying
what it is.
I'm not saying to feign automated messages as being you directly, but unlike a chat bot, it's not always going to be obvious because it's coming from your personal messenger.
Yeah.
So, message the lead. Are you ready for a trial? Boom.
And so I'm waiting for some kind of indicator. I know I'm going to see it at some time, but where like the screen wobbles or shakes or something like that, where it's like, okay, and now you're here, but I still can't see that. I still, like, a lot of times it's like, oh yeah, you were just talking to the autoresponder. I'm like, really? I seriously thought I was talking to you.
Yep.
Wow, this technology is getting good.
So then while that's off doing the thing. So now when we come back to our lead CRM management, okay, here's Zane. He's ready. My system's going to follow up with him on the 22nd at 1400 hours, or 2 p.m. Eastern. And I could have all this information filled in if I just taken a second and grabbed all the data that I had, or if Facebook already had that data, it would populate it, provided that data was public on the profile. But
Facebook gets none of that data. Ha! No, I'm just kidding. I just haven't entered anything.
And then, because I didn't show you guys tags last time, I'll do this really quickly. Zane is just interested in CRM, so we're just going to create a CRM tag.
Bingo.
And then we're going to, boom, I've tagged him for CRM. right?
Like that. Yeah,
So
and
now,
like this
so
is
now
how
let's
this is
say,
how you dress up your customers and stuff like that, so that you can look at them in this format and be like, I know exactly what to say, how to say it, and when to say it for them to be like, well, of course, here's my money. Like, I mean, you know the picture I'm talking about that with Fry when he's like, shut up and take my money. Like, I mean,
yes,
that's what this interface does. It tells you how to have that conversation with Fry, and then all he does is go, shut up and take my money. That's what we're looking at right now.
all right. So as if the stuff that this does wasn't already enough, um, I decide that what the heck, I've got 50 people in here that are interested in CRM, and they haven't purchased, because I would just come in and I would add a tag, purchased, right? Create the purchase tag. So then when Zane decides to buy, I move him from CRM to purchased. And then he goes into a different type of a follow-up, right? He goes into, hey, how's the system working for you? Do you have questions? Do you need any additional training? Let me know if you're having issues, that kind of thing. Just touching base and bumping him a little bit, just to stay fresh and make sure that there's nothing else that I can do to make the system better, right? So, but right now he's in CRM, and I say, I'm going to do a 3-day training where side by side with people, I'm going to let you into the training, and then I'm going to give everybody a week trial of the software, and we're going to go through it step by step. And I'm going to say limit it to 10 people, right? 10 people, and I'll personally help them set up and start their system on autopilot to try it out and see if they like it, right? So am I going to go through, am I going to message all 50 of those people and say, hey, here's what I'm doing. Do you want in? Right?
Totally should.
I mean, right. But if I copy and paste those messages across Facebook,
You're going to run into some issues.
I'm going to look like a bot because my messages are being copied and pasted, which is going to happen at a fairly high rate of speed, right? Repetition equals bad. Repetition bad. Personalization is good. So we're going to go to the bulk messaging panel. I'm going to choose the CRM tag, and I'm going to say, hey, name. It's going to insert Zane's name there. I am setting up a training with free.
Is there anything that, like a legend or something like that, or anything that helps you to remember what kind of brackets and stuff to put in, that like name and stuff?
Right now, name is the only one supported.
Oh, okay.
So it's in the sample, so it's pretty easy to remember. I do believe that they're probably going to expand on some of that, but that may depend on what they have access to
Well,
consistent.
yeah. Well, as far as like name goes, that that can be like, well, this is the only thing it has, and you can just remember. All right. Well, as those things are developed, that's when they'll show up.
All right. So Zane's been added to my queue.
I can't wait.
And so this should go through, obviously, and put everybody, and then it tells me what the status is so I can see exactly where they're going, right? Right now, this is the message status of pending, and we just let that go, and he's going to eventually get hit with this message at 12:46.
All right, the axe is gonna swing in 60 seconds, man. Sorry. We got like, what are we talking about next time?
All right. So I think that the only other stuff that I think we would go into would be about your existing list and creating engagement, because engagement prioritizes your content in their newsfeed.
And the money is in the list, right? We did a lot of prep work. List is important.
Yeah. So how do we get these people from the CRM system into a funnel onto an email list or a text message campaign? A lot of ways to go about doing that. Maybe we can talk about that after we discuss engagement, and talk a little bit about the final tool, which is the post scheduler.
Nice. Yeah. So sorry, we really